Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Dawn Otten-Sweeney. I'm a National Sales Director with Mary Kay Cosmetics, and thank you for joining this conversation. This is a conversation that is important in Mary Kay because I know I got to do this live in person. I got to hear women's stories and how they were weaving this in and through different seasons of life. And that is what really sold me on giving this a shot, because I saw that it wasn't for a particular age group. It wasn't for a particular season of life. It was really for women to use the flexibility, the no territories, the income potential, to work around to achieve their dreams and goals, be paid what they're worth, and not have the downside of having to make a choice between work or family or faith and work or etc. Mary Kay created this 60 years ago so that women could have the opportunity to prioritize around God first, family second, and career third, and be paid what they're worth at the same time, which was revolutionary in 1963, and it is still more than revolutionary in 2023. And so I have invited three of my friends, three from our leadership team that represent three distinctly different seasons of life. And so I'm going to share a little bit about them so that they can spend their time sharing how did they use their time? How did they work around an already full plate? You know, when I started this 37 years ago, I was working 80 hours a week because that was in the 80s. And when you got out of business school at the University of Michigan, that's what you did. Those were the programs that you were recruited for. And I quickly saw that I couldn't figure out how I was going to have time to be a wife because I was engaged, and definitely not a mom down the line. I also knew that I was not geographically mobile, and my husband's job was going to have us move around the country. I have worked my business starting off there as a 23-year-old and then moving actually the first 36 months to 4 states, 9 addresses with my husband's career, most of the time in 2 states, but around babies, around, you know, life, around my husband changing careers, being able to move back to home to raise kids, around grandparents, and now, you know, raising kids, they're out, they're pregnant, they're expecting, you know, first grandbabies. I've worked this for 37 years, all through life. So I always want women to appreciate this. If this is something that could serve you, well, you got nothing to lose. It's a $30 or $130 decision to get a Mary Kay consultant number, and your director recruiter can share with you what that entails. But, you know, if it does not serve you well, we would love to have you pass this information on. It's called being a talent scout. You'll always get free products from your consultant. But I know in this economy, with what's going on in 2023, there's lots of women that need to hear what we're going to share. So the first woman I have on deck is Otten-Sweeney. She has been building her business. She's now 30. She started when she was 19. She was a college student her sophomore year, living in a sorority house and needing a car. She did not have a car. She wanted a car. And so she started this to earn a car. 5 months later, she earned her first Mary Kay car and became a sales director. She was the youngest Cadillac sales director in Michigan when she earned her first Cadillac at 21 years old. Her fiance has always played hockey, so they had a long distance relationship in college, and then he played pros after that, all around the United States and Canada, and then in Switzerland. So I'm telling you like key things about these women's lives so you can understand, like, see yourself in part of it, or if not in any of it, you can say, you know what though, I could use that time management tip, or I could use that strategy to help me get the benefit I need from Mary Kay right now. So she is married now. She's a mom to be in about 6 weeks, depending on when you're listening to this. And she just moved into a new house and her husband just found out about 3 weeks ago via email that his job was liquidated. His company closed in Metro Detroit and let 450 people go. So that is a little story of Otten-Sweeney Wido. Take it away, Alden. Share with us, when you started your business, what did this look like? How could it look for these women around the schedule that you had then?
Awesome. Okay, so when I started, I was 19, like Dawn said, and I had the inside view because I am her daughter. So I had seen a mom that had worked this around a very, full life, and I valued her time freedom. So if you care a lot about having the choice to use your time how you want, I would encourage you to listen closely to how these women manage their time and how they have the choice to manage their time. I think we hear time freedom a lot in our society now, but it wasn't talked about that much, or it wasn't really trendy. Honestly, when I started, people were wearing busy as like a badge of honor. Like it was fun, and people like talked about being busy as like a braggadocious thing. And that kind of bothered me. And I wanted to be busy, but I wanted to have impact at the same time, and also income. I didn't want to be busy and broke. Can you feel me on that? I wanted to be busy and productive, and having, building something that would last, and building something that would pay me more than one time. So I was, living in a sorority house. I was a full-time business student in college. My boyfriend at the time, then fiance, husband, played collegiate hockey. So if I ever wanted to see him from August to, I don't know, June, I had to travel to see him out of state. So I knew exactly what my schedule was, which most women do, right? We usually manage more than just ourselves. And I used a tool that Mary Kay actually offers, which is called the weekly plan sheet. And you guys, I think this is great for every single woman. Like in Mary Kay, not in Mary Kay, it has you detail out what you do each hour, Monday through Sunday, and have it planned out. Because I knew when I was in class, I knew when I had sorority stuff, which you guys took way more time than I ever anticipated, when I was traveling, and when I was going to work my business. And I honestly worked about 10 to 15 hours a week. And as you heard, I was able to earn a free car with Mary Kay. The company paid for the full car, 87% of the insurance, tax and tabs. As a 19-year-old living in a sorority house, working 10 to 15 hours a week. I knew that my time invested into my Mary Kay business, nobody else anywhere else was going to pay a 19-year-old. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but I was coachable, and I was willing to learn from women that had successfully built a business before. But I really valued that in short time frames. And you guys, this was back 10 years ago when we did Mary Kay all in person. So everything was in person. We had no territories. We've never had territories in Mary Kay, but we were geographically bound. So I was working, on the west side of Michigan, and I would drive back and forth because I had connections in Metro Detroit where I grew up, and I had to manage the time with that. But now, you guys, and I know one of our upcoming speakers is going to talk about the blessing of virtual business in Mary Kay, but now you can do so much more. But I worked my business in 2-hour time slots. How many women could I help educate about their skincare, make them feel better with their glamour looks, teach them how to have, freedom and flexibility with a Mary Kay business in 2-hour timeframes. And I would put money signs in whatever 2-hour timeframes I had available. And I worked my business in those timeframes. And I knew that time invested into my Mary Kay business was going to pay me over and over and over again if I gave my customers great customer service, because they were washing the products down the drain and I was building a residual income. And you guys, I've been in Mary Kay, I guess it'll be 11 years in July. I have customers from day one that I did skincare with on dorm room floors, nothing fabulous, but dorm room floors that are still my customers today. They're loving their skincare, they're loving their color, and that 2-hour or 1-hour time investment over 10 years ago has paid me over and over and over again. So I am so thankful that I was willing to not say I'm too busy, because I probably thought and bought into it at that stage that I was busy at that time. But many of you that are way past the college stage are probably like rolling your eyes, like college people aren't busy. Let me add on kids, let me add on a husband, a house, all of the things, right? But I'm so thankful that I was willing to be disciplined with my time at that stage, so that I have choices now of a dream home. I have, freedom to choose, when I want to work once I have this baby or not. And I have the ability to say, when my husband lost his job, we're okay. You guys, I am so thankful that I didn't use busy as a badge of honor in that stage, and was willing to invest my time into something that was going to pay me over and over again, and figure out how I could fit a Mary Kay business into small pockets of time at each season. And as each season changed, I was willing to be coached as to how my business could change in those seasons. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm going to pass this over to my friend Reina.
Well, I get to introduce Reina before she starts. That's okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Alden. I will fade you off. And Reina now. Reina, I know from back in the day, she was in Mary Kay back in the day, and then she restarted 4 years ago in February of 2019. She decided to restart her Mary Kay business while being a full-time teacher, a mom of now a 25 and 10-year-old, so you can subtract 4 years off of that. She was working full-time as a teacher and had a second teaching job Tuesdays and Thursday nights. She started her business February of 19, and in her first 5 months, she became a director, earned her first car. Her first year in Mary Kay, she was #1 in her DIQ class, which broke a record in our area. She's earned her Cadillac. She earned her first trip. I forgot to mention that. Alden earned her first trip, her Circle of Excellence unit. So Reina and Alden traveled to Scotland together, compliments of Mary Kay, this past fall. Reina is full-time. So Alden represented student, busy, young, in that age range. Not that Reina's old, but she's representing women who are working a full-time job, plus maybe a side hustle or two, just to keep up with the economy and raising a family. So Reina, share with us, what did this look like for you when you started your business?
Well, hello, ladies. I don't know, Dawn. I might feel a little old because I turned the big 50 this year. So I'm feeling it. But yes, I am representing those of you who have full-time jobs, actually 2 jobs, because like Dawn said, I was a full-time teacher. I taught middle school, and then I taught adults at night, the GED program. So honestly, when I joined Mary Kay, I'm one of those, and this, you may be able to relate to this. I didn't have time. I didn't. I literally had, but I knew that if I didn't do something different, nothing in my life was going to change. And I had 2 teaching jobs for a reason, because we had more month than money. And what I did was that sheet that Alden held up, it's called the weekly plan sheet. That's what I did. Alden is holding it up now. I literally had to fill that out, ladies. It's hour by hour, Monday through Sunday. I literally had to fill it out for my brain, for my mind, my visual, to be able to even see when I could do this. And I literally put my whole life, grocery store, dance, all the things that you do, with children, and with my 2 jobs and my husband, I had to put it down so that I could see. And when I did, ladies, when I put my whole life down on that weekly plan sheet, I had 3:30 to 4:45 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's it. That's all I had. 3:30 to 4:45. And I'm going to be very specific with what I did to help some of you, because we're all different. We all lead different lives. And I'm going to tell you what I did. That way you can see how you can be creative with your time to make this work. But one of the first things that I did is I had a fourth period of a bunch of girls that were in sixth grade, and they loved to clean my desk with the Lysol wipes. And so what I did was I had them clean the desk, and they would set up mirrors, and I would invite every Tuesday and Thursday at 3:30, because the bell rang, and when you teach middle school and high school, they run out the door. So at 3:30, they would run out the door, and then I would invite different subject area teams to my classroom for facials. Like this Tuesday it would be the science team, this Thursday it would be the English team, and that went on for weeks, you guys, because not everybody could come. And then I ended up doing the paras, and I would do the lunch ladies, and I ended up doing everybody from 3:30 to 4:45. And that's how I started. And at 4:45, I'm like, okay, ladies, I'll bring the product to you. I'll put it in your box tomorrow because I got to go to my night job. And it took me 15 or 20 minutes to get to my night job. That started at 5:30. So that's one in particular thing that I did to be creative with my time. Another thing that I did is at my lunch break, I stopped having lunch in the teacher's lounge, and I started having lunch in my own classroom. And I would get a whole lot done during my lunch break. And every other week, I didn't have a fourth period because I would switch with another teacher. So every other week, for a whole week, you guys, I had 2 o'clock to 3:30. Do you think I did any teaching, any grading papers? No. I did Mary Kay from 2 to 3:30. And you know what I really had to do during that time? Because I don't know if classrooms are like this up in Michigan, but down here in Florida, we have no cell service whatsoever inside of our classrooms. I don't know if they do that on purpose down here, but there's no cell service whatsoever. So you know what I had to do? I would take a chair, I would crack my door. Okay, I would sit the chair there, have my door cracked down. I would stick my hand outside of the door so that I could get some service. And that's how I would make phone calls and texts and all that during that time, because I couldn't stand outside of my door because then everybody would see I'm on my cell phone, right? The teacher, outside on the cell phone doesn't look very good. So I did things like that. And I still I loved being creative with my time like that, because it allowed me to, when I was at home, I was at home. And I could spend time with my then 6-year-old and my husband, who is one of those that his love language is spending time. So I had to find time for that too. And so that's just how I was creative. And so ladies, we're all busy. Nobody listening to me, we're no busier than the other person. Y'all do realize that, right? We're just all busy doing different things, but we're all very busy. And you just have to learn how to be creative. And one thing that I kept telling myself during that time is, if I don't do something different, nothing's going to change. If I don't do something different, nothing in my life is going to change. And I can tell you one thing that I was sick of having a conversation with my husband about, okay, because he's a teacher too. We have 3 days before we're paid. We have $100 in the account. Don't spend any money. If I told you how many conversations I had with him like that, I would be embarrassed to tell you. And I was sick of it. And so I knew if I didn't do something different, nothing was going to change. And so that, ladies, is how I was creative with my time.
Thank you, Reina. And I'm going to next turn this over to wrap this up. I'll say a few putting a bow on it statements at the end, but Sonya Pacey, she built her Mary Kay business for 20 years ago, and then had gotten out of Mary Kay and restarted in January of 22. So she is a full-fledged virtual baby at this end of her Mary Kay business, because she was restarting when Michigan was still very shut down as far as doing things in person. In her first 2 months of restarting her business, she earned her car and built a unit. And she broke a record. All 3 of these women have broken records in our area and in the company. In her first 6 months, she earned the Malibu, the Equinox, and the Cadillac. And also, her first year as a director, she was not only the Rookie of the Year, but she broke Reina's record because her unit was #1 every single month in the nation for 12 consecutive months. So I asked Sonya if she would represent the I'm in a season of life, because when she started the business, she had just left her home to get a divorce, and has 3 children. So had 3 kids going back and forth between their father and her, was in the middle of a nasty divorce. And I haven't been divorced, but I got, a front row seat at this one. And the time that you spend looking up records and conversations with attorneys that cost a fortune, and times in court and with magistrate and judges, it's like a side hustle that costs you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And so I asked Sonya to share in a challenging time in life. But you guys, the fact of the matter is, let's talk about women. You're gonna, be a young woman, you're gonna be maybe dating, maybe there's a marriage, there's babies, there could be miscarriages, there could be, lots of hot stuff that happens in there. There's divorces, there's widow. I mean, 50% of women are gonna be widowed and single by the time they're 60. That's more, and it may be more than that, maybe more like 60%. Women wear lots of different hats in life. There's moves. We know that, we are the ones that shoulder a lot of this. And Mary Kay knew that. So she baked into our system the flexibility, but also the ability to build something that's sustainable, that's going to last you through these seasons of life. Sonya launched her business during a season, and I wanted her to share some things that were critical, because I've met many women over the years that the reason they don't start their business is because all the lights aren't clear. It's a busy season in life, a high school senior, or, a marriage coming up, or a new home, or a move, or a baby, et cetera, et cetera. So Sonya, take it away.
Thank you so much. So I'm so super honored to be able to share with you this evening. And I want to, start with, busy women really are the women who know how to get things done. When you have an open schedule, you're like, yeah, I could just sit over here for a minute, then I can go over here. So the one piece that Don left out of my story is 20 years ago, I was married and I had 3 beautiful children. And he decided that he, could be with different people. And I was like, yeah, there's only going to be 1 car in my garage. So we're going to definitely need to work on this. So I became a single mom to a 3, 4, and 7-year-old. And I really listened to everyone. Heed to me, you need to go back into the classroom, Sonya. This is where you need to be. This is your security. This is your retirement, all the good things. So I indeed went back and did that. And then I thought it was a good idea to get remarried. And I should have been still, but I had these kids and I wanted a family, and I should have remained still. But after, being back in the classroom and after the pandemic, I thought I was going to lose my mind. And I could basically turn a computer on and I could turn the computer off. And now I was having to screencastify and I had to learn all these tricks and things. And I was like, okay. So then the Holy Spirit was like, yeah, you're going to leave the classroom and you're going to go back into Mary Kay. And I'm like, are you really sure about that, God? I just spent 25 grand to get my ESL endorsement. Maybe I should stay here for, nope, this is where you're going. So it's funny, in my Bible study this morning, it's about being obedient. It's about when God calls you where he's working. Sometimes you have to not only leave your home, as I did, I had to lose a husband and I had to let my children live somewhere else for 6 months. So this could be a really great reason for Sonya to say, you know what? I am too busy to do this. I'll just stay in the classroom and I'll be disobedient. Well, I know what the other side of that's going to look like, or I don't know, but I'm assuming that I don't want to know. So I decided to go back into this full force, and I took a leave of absence from the classroom and I started. And again, I could turn the computer on and I could turn the computer off. And I thought, all right, I guess I can do this. See, I have skills of being an educator, which I loved teaching. But what was happening to me, I was giving the best of my day to someone else's kids, and I was coming home and I was giving the leftovers to my own. So now fast forward the story, now my human beings are 14, 15, and 18. So here I am in the category, I have one that's going off to college, and guess what? I'm making sure that he's learning how to take care of himself on the other side. You teach people how to fish for themselves so they can feed themselves for a lifetime. So all the things that we're talking about here, ladies, we want people who are busy. We want people who have a heartbeat, who have a passion, who have a goal, and have, you know, the tenacity to go from here to there and to be resourceful. So I can say that I lead a group of women that are exceptional. And, you know, just like God gives us our children, God knows the women that are going to come into our unit. And is it going to always be all green lights? Everything's great. You know, Sonya was #1 in her class. Well, Sonya was holding onto the kite so tightly. Sometimes my fingers were purple, but I did it anyway because I knew what the other side of this looked like. So now that I'm reunited with my children, I have a bag and it's in the hallway because it goes everywhere I go. It was a gift from Dawn. It's my black Vera Bradley bag. That's my Cadillac bag. I got that Cadillac in 6 months because I was not playing. Quick is easy, slow is hard. I jumped in, as Alden told me, it's baptism by fire. Just jump into this, you know, post my party, this virtual piece, turn the computer on, turn the computer off. I have learned now, I think I've done 150 virtual parties. I have learned how to be a digital diva. I'm learning how to transfer that skill to other people, because if I can teach you to eat once, or if I show you once, you're not going to be able to feed yourself for a lifetime. Why Mary Kay continues to thrive and not just survive is we're teaching women how to take care of their skin. We're teaching women how to build, you know, businesses that are sustainable, that have residual income that will come back from them. And that's something, my friends, I couldn't get from the classroom. So here I am on the other side of being back in for a full year. You know, I have inventory in my home. I have a Zoom room in my home. I have a bag that travels with me to all the baseball games. And I'll tell you, as a single parent, I had a daughter who tore her ACL in August. I got to go to every surgeon appointment. I took her to her surgery. I cared for her afterwards. Was I doing all of these things from my home? Yes, I was. And it's beautiful because if I were still in the classroom with those golden handcuffs, that's my retirement, that's my livelihood, I would not be able to be the parent that my children need for me to be. So I love this business because there's no boundaries, there's no territories, and you are hungry for something, we can feed you so that you can then go and feed other people. Oh, you're muted, Dawn.
Perfect. Oh, so blessed to lead this team. So in conclusion of this, I'm hoping that you got the theme of the story as I did it anyways, because after, how many years, 37 years, I started sharing this opportunity from the first day I started it because I fell in love with it. And I thought that there was nothing better for women to be paid what you're worth around, you know, the priority system with the flexibility and the sustainability. And looking back, I was right. I still haven't found anything as good for women. So I just want women to try it. Like, give it a shot instead of trying to figure it out from the outside. You know, get your feet wet. Worst case, you get your stuff at cost and you get tax deductions so you can keep more of your money or pay less taxes, whatever the situation is. But I, you know, hear women so frequently, especially in this economy, we need more money, or I need blank, I need community, I need a challenge, I need a plan B, I need, you know, a plan A, and the but so often is, you know, they can't figure it out in their head because they've never successfully built a Mary Kay business before. And that's where we come in. As a national sales director, everyone has a sales director in Mary Kay. Everyone has a sales director and a recruiter. And Mary Kay, after 60 years, this is pretty much like a franchise. If you are willing to work it, just like a Chick-fil-A, a McDonald's, it's A, B, C, D, E, F. You do this, and these are the results you can expect. Mary Kay is very much that. And the people who are coaching you and teaching you have started exactly the same way. I started with the dream, a super busy schedule, but with the sales director that said, I'll teach you how, as long as you are coachable and willing. Do you want to be a glad I did or a wish I had? Mary Kay Ash used to ask that a lot. Something we've been talking a lot in our leadership training is, I'm glad I did it anyways. And so you get to decide, you know, you may never have been that girl before, Or maybe you've always been the girl. You know, you figure it out. Glad I did it anyways. This is perfect for you, because then you can teach other women how to do it. If you've never been that girl, maybe now's your time. So you get to decide. I encourage you to be decisive. Ask your consultant that invited you to listen to this, what's the gift? If I decide to get my consultant number right now, you know, what's my decisive gift? It may be a microdermabrasion set. It might be the Skinvigorate brush. It'll probably be something that doesn't come in your starter kit, so you can start using and demoing it right away. Thank you for your time. I'm sure you're getting a gift just for listening. If this information isn't for you, who do you know that it's for? Please pass it on. Thank you.